Indiana is having the best season in program history this year, winning over 10 games for the first time in history. What Curt Cignetti has done in his first season is truly unbelievable, but today we are taking over for Cignetti and continuing the legacy of the Indiana Hoosiers and finally getting them their first ever national championship. And year number one for this rebuild, I'm just going to force wins and have Indiana match what they've done so far this year in real life. I'll do the recruiting during the season, but in terms of wins and losses, I want this to be as realistic as possible heading into the future for this program. That does unfortunately mean that we're going to be missing out on a season with a ton of really nice senior players, which does include Curtis Rourke, who is one of the best quarterbacks in the country this season. But Tyler Cherry, maybe he could be the future quarterback for a 6'5", 215 pounds, 74 overall true freshman. And looking at his skill caps, I think Tyler Cherry could be the future of this program. Still so young. He is star development as well. I'm very intrigued by this guy. That says, when it comes to recruiting, I don't really know the pull of Indiana. Being in a Power 4 conference definitely should help, but our main pipeline in the state of Indiana, there's not a ton of really top-end players outside of a few 4-stars that are listed here. It looks like we will have a good chance to get 3 offensive linemen, which would definitely help us out in the future, just building the trenches, and obviously this 4-star quarterback as well. Why not add him to the list? But I guess outside of that, this season, I'm just going to go with players that have us in their top 10 of their interest board, and then we'll go from there and see how many of these players we can actually get in our first year of this rebuild. And sitting at 5-0 this season, recruiting is still not going super well. We did lose out on one of these tackles from Indiana. He decided to go to Notre Dame. We're also locked out on this quarterback, which I'm not too upset with because we do have a really, really nice freshman. But again, another offensive lineman decided not to come to Indiana. So we are losing some tough battles, but I do think just having a really good season this year, because Indiana in real life did win over 10 games in the regular season, that's really going to help us, I feel like, down the stretch, get some of these recruits. And then even next year and the year after, just getting even more players, just kind of building off of this momentum. We did get our first recruit of the rebuild, and it's Terrell Sparks, a quarterback from Chicago, Illinois. Again, we don't really need a quarterback, but he was a 4-star gem and a scrambler archetype, so maybe he could be another interesting prospect we have at that position. And now sitting at 8-0 on the season, and things are still not going super well recruiting wise. We have 3 players again that have already left and went to other schools. I guess you could argue the top of our board is looking all right. I mean, we're in the lead for all of these guys. We have a couple of them coming on visits in a couple of weeks. But with how this kind of dream season has gone, with us being the number 15 team in the country, I kind of expected to get ourselves at least a few more of these top end recruits to really give us some momentum in the future. Well, the season is over, and the Hoosiers did go 11-1, 8-1 in the conference, just like in real life. The difference is we did make the conference championship game against Ohio State. I think it's only fair that I'm going to have them lose this game, and then we'll see if the committee still puts us in the postseason, which I do expect to happen. Not gonna lie to you, early national signing day does not look good at all. We have 5 players signed. I was about to say 6. We have 5 players signed. A handful of other ones we're still in some battles for. Probably maybe get 5 more, so 10 players before the transfer portal. Definitely not what I wanted to do with this kind of 1 free year pass where we're guaranteed to have double-digit wins. And Rourke does have a dislocated hip, so he's not going to be playing in our college football playoff first matchup against Liberty. I think it's only fair we hop into this one, our first game of this rebuild in the playoffs, and we're going to see if we can take down the Liberty Flames. I think we're going to be pretty big favorites in this matchup to move to the next round. I don't think in real life Indiana is going to have the fortune to play the group of 5 team that does sneak in, but today against Liberty, we are cooking with a 10-3 lead in the red zone here. With how our defense has been playing, 1 touchdown might just kind of put this game out of reach for Liberty. But we're going to have to settle for 3 points here, make it a 2-possession game once again, and as long as the kick is good, right down the middle, Liberty's kind of in some trouble here. 3rd and 3, the play of the game. If we get this first down, I think Liberty will have a lot of trouble getting the ball back, and we got it to Williams Jr., and that should just about do it here. Final score of 16-6 in year number 1 of the playoffs. Indiana gets a win. That's huge for us heading into next season. Our round 2 matchup, though, is going to be against Alabama, so I think this might be where this ride ends this season. And to be honest, we're actually doing a lot better than I thought. A 17-7 game here at the 1-yard line early in the 4th quarter, and our O-line can't block. Luckily, 2 of our top recruits that we did get are on the offensive line, so building for the trenches is definitely going to help us in the future here. But on 3rd and goal at the 3, we are going to sneak into the end zone. It's a 3-point game just like that. And you're telling me there's a chance. A 3-point game, a minute 20 to go. We have a chance to go down the field here and score the game-winning touchdown. One-on-one coverage with our star wide receiver. Why not throw that up there? And it's going to be broken up. I'm going to look for Horton here up the seam. We got him for a huge first down, and we're getting close to field goal range. And our redshirt sophomore, Taven Jackson's been playing pretty well. I mean, he's gotten us to this point where we have a chance against Alabama. And right up the field again, and right when I say that, he misses a throw. We're down to 56 seconds. Again, up the seam to Williams. He's gonna drop it. And now the game comes down to this. Can our offensive line hold up in a huge passing situation? They cannot. Alabama is going to escape, but still a very competitive game. In a great season, I feel like any Indiana fan would take that this year. A playoff win and then a close loss to Alabama. Hopefully, this can ride us into next season with a lot of nice momentum. NC State defeated UCF in the national championship. That is a very just odd matchup. But now we have a look at all of the players that are going to be graduating this year, and it's got to be like half of our roster. This is actually ridiculous. Probably the most players I've ever seen graduate from a team. I will say, because we had a really good season last year, that a lot of the top players in the transfer portal do have us in their top 5 of the interest board. So obviously we're going to try and go after every single one of these players, since we do have so many players leaving and just so many needs now across our team. Unfortunately, currently we just don't have the motion like that. We only got ourselves 15 signees. The transfer portal definitely did help, but still not a ton of top-end 4-star talent. So not having a ton of top-end players, then also not a lot of them, I don't think we're going to have a very good recruiting class, and it's actually 36, so better than I thought. But the training results are actually really, really good. We're up to an 86 overall. I mean, that is higher than we were last year after losing all of those players. I made sure to pour all of my coaching points into just progression during the offseason on the motivator archetype, and you can really see our secondary. A lot of corners in the high 80s. We also have a few of our receivers up into the 80s. We do have a decision to make at quarterback if we do want to start Taven Jackson, the redshirt freshman Tyler Cherry, or even our freshman quarterback who's not showing currently. I think he was like a 75 overall at base, which is kind of ridiculous. We are very thin at receiver, but Elijah Sarrett, he looks like maybe one of the best receivers in the country. All of his abilities, 90 overall. Our offensive line should continue to be better over the next couple of years with the couple of recruits we got that were 4 stars. Our defensive line is not too bad, low 80s, so I still think this is a championship caliber team, maybe one playoff win if we can get in, but definitely some bright spots, especially with our secondary. For quarterback, I have no idea what I want to do. For every single one of these guys, it's ridiculous. Taven Jackson, he has a star development trait. His ratings, he has no caps whatsoever. So he could be like a 99 overall. You go to Tyler Cherry, the guy I thought might have been able to be the future. Star development trait. He doesn't really have any caps either. 2 caps, but he could still be like a 95 plus overall. And then you go to our new freshman quarterback, Terrell Sparks. He's already a 76 base as a true freshman. So the youngest of every single quarterback on our roster. He has elite development trait, but his ratings, he does have a decent amount of caps compared to the top 2 players. He also has the most abilities, so I really don't know who to start and try and build around. Let me know in the comment section for future rebuilds who would be the best quarterback to start in this scenario, because I really have no clue. This year for recruiting, again, not a ton of 4-star or better players in the state of Indiana, but I feel like we should sweep this year. We just made the college football playoffs. We're coming off of a double-digit win season. Why would you not want to stay in your home state and build just a dynasty with your hometown team? And here's a look at our schedule this season. 2 really easy games to start off 2-0. Old Dominion, FCS Northwest, but then a showdown against Florida State, the number 5 team in the country. We're actually ranked number 4 heading into this year, which is kind of surprising to me. But conference play this year, again, is not going to be easy with Penn State and Oregon on the schedule, but no Ohio State this year or Michigan. So still 2 good teams, but not kind of who we're accustomed to playing. And I really don't know why I spoke. I disrespected Old Dominion, just went ahead and simmed the game, and we lost 43-35. What is going on with our defense? Taven Jackson had himself a good game, but why did we give up so many points? They even had 2 quarterbacks step, and we injured their starter. Their backup came in and diced us. So really not a good start for this season. But I do want to hop into our first game this season against Florida State, a matchup of 2 ranked teams. I think Florida State is also 0-1 though, but they're still the number 10 team in the nation. With dropping the game against Old Dominion, every single game from here on out, if we do want to make the college football playoffs, is super important. When we have a matchup on our home turf against a top 10 team, we have to take care of business. Our defense did a good job forcing a punt on their first drive, and now our offense at the 1-yard line. We need to pick this up. Quarterback sneak right up the middle, and we are going to get the touchdown, 7-0. And honestly, I don't know how this game has gotten close. It was 20-0 at one point. FSU was 14 points unanswered, driving to really take the lead in this game. And here's our running back, up the middle for a huge gain. That's something with a pretty young team like us this year. We have to learn how to finish. In Florida State, Iran commit. They're going to get in the end zone. 2 minutes to go, 3rd and 6. Florida State trying to pick up a key first down. It's going to be picked off by Sharp. A beautiful play in that zone, and he has a nice little return here to set us up. Now, we don't have our great kicker from last year, but I think 3 or 4 first downs will get us in position to win this game. Texas route to our running back. It's incomplete. Our offensive line has to find a way to hold up just to give us enough time to move some chains. And here's another first down. Taven Jackson does not look like he's having himself a good game. 2 interceptions, but he has a chance. And I just threw another one. Taven Jackson put too much air under it. And Florida State, they got inside the 30. That's what happens when you come back and play this game for the first time in a month. You kind of just have a warped view of everything. But Florida State, they're going to take it down with maybe 30 seconds for us. We only have 1 timeout left. And unless we're able to maybe force a missed field goal, it's really not looking good for us to come out of here with a win. Our last hope here on 3rd and 10, Florida State's going to pass for this, and their tight end is wide open. Wow, this was a tough game to lose. I'm afraid I'm also losing my fastball in recruiting. I feel like I'm just spreading my resources way too thin, going after way too many players. I mean, we're in like the top 5, top 3 for all these guys. But when it comes to scheduling visits, putting on the hard sell, we don't have enough resources to go after this many players. In the meantime, we lost our first game of conference play to Wisconsin, and Taven Jackson is not playing too well. 2 picks, 162 yards. We might have to try a new quarterback. With how our season has gone, I guess we're going to try and make the switch, see if Cherry can make a difference offensively. I guess offense really hasn't been the problem. We're scoring enough points, but there's a lot of turnovers that need to be cut down. On the recruiting side, things are still not going well at all. We lost out on the top player we were going after, this outside linebacker, but we were weak at so many positions. Think like every single unit on defense, we have a need. And offensively, it's the offensive line. We could use some more running backs and receivers as well. I mean, we're in a tough spot. We literally just cannot win a game. We got destroyed by UCLA. UCLA just destroyed us. Cherry didn't have himself a great game either. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what is up with the sim engine. 47% completion percentage. It's just not good enough. It's simply just not good enough. And UCLA quarterback diced us up as well. All the progress and momentum we had last year, it's not even working. Our defense is getting absolutely shredded. Recruiting-wise, we got our first prospect, this tight end. He'll be a great addition, but we also lost out on a handful more of them. We now have deal breakers on a bunch of them as well because of our record, and it's just really not going good for us this season. Really just a disaster of a year. I don't know what else I could have really done to prevent this. Start a different quarterback, maybe use my resources more sparingly. I'm not exactly sure. And oh man, we lost to 1-5 Michigan State as well. We are really falling apart. I don't know what is going on. Cherry, again, 2 turnovers. We're just turning the ball over so much this year. And Michigan State, I mean, they didn't even have a great game quarterback-wise. The running back just had 176 yards. We're now sitting at 1-5, 0-3 in the conference, and we still have Penn State and Oregon. But even recruiting is just going awful. And what sucks the most is that heading into next season and the year after that, this is going to have some pretty big ramifications for us. And we only have 1 player signed, and we are struggling to get even more. But here's a first look at our offense with Cherry at quarterback. We have a 3rd and 5 here on our opening drive, and Cherry just going to take off and run here, slide and pick up the first. With this already being a lost season, we're kind of just playing for pride at this point, but if we can get a good, I guess, indication on who our starting quarterback will be moving forward, that'll be great for us. I don't know why we've struggled so much this season where we are 1-5 after a playoff win last year. I mean, I know we lost a lot of veteran players, but still. But first and goal at the 1, we're going to actually punch this in here to our tight end. We're up on the road. And this is what I don't understand about this game. We're playing the #1 team in the country with Drew Aller still back, Abdul Carter still back, and we're dog walking them here on 4th down, throws it up, it's picked off by Bonds, our free safety, and we just mollywopped Penn State. I've done so many rebuilds on this game, I've never seen anything like this. We literally cannot win a game. We can't win. We're 2-8, 1-6 in the conference. Iowa is putting up 31 points on us. We somehow walked into Penn State, the one game I hopped into, barely even played a ton, but we held them to 6 points, we win. And then every other game that I sim, we're just getting absolutely destroyed. I don't understand it whatsoever. And then recruiting, because of how poor we've been playing, how bad I did allocating the resources, we're missing out on a ton of prospects. We only have 2 players signed. This is just maybe the worst season of any rebuild I've ever had. Another week and another L. 2-9, 1-7 in the conference. Let Illinois put up 54 points on us. We have our rivalry week matchup against Purdue, so we're going to hop into this one. I'm just frozen. I cannot believe we're about to go 2-10 and 1-8 potentially in the Big Ten Conference after the season we had last year. It just makes no sense. A minute 56 to go here in the second quarter, and Tyler Cherry is on offense, and a beautiful dime right there actually to Green, who's going to juke inside and bring it inside the 5-yard line. This season just feels like such a waste of time. I have no idea any answers really next year. Who our starting quarterback's going to be, who's going to try and leave after this horrible season. I mean, sitting at an 86 overall across the board, I thought this was maybe going to be an 8-win team. I wasn't really expecting a national championship, but man, we're still struggling in this game to stop Purdue. I don't know what it's going to take, maybe 2 new coordinator changes at the very least, but I mean, this has just been a pathetic season as Cherry with a horrible throw. I mean, there's just so many questions to be answered. Who our starting quarterback will be next year, maybe the freshman guy that we recruited, but does he even want to stay anymore after just how bad of a season this was? I'm very scared to see the list of players that are going to be trying to transfer out, because I have a feeling it's going to be a lot of our best players, and we're going to be left with not a ton of talent next year. But Purdue is driving it to tie the game on this final drive. Can our defense make a stand? They haven't been all season, but a nice pick from Boyd here. And you know what? In this rivalry game, let's just take this back for 6. Pour the score on. It's been a tough year. We did at least get a win, 29-15 against Purdue to end off our season. 3-9 though. Definitely, I think, the worst season I've had at any rebuild this entire year. Not sure exactly what happened, but we got to fix it heading into next season. Here is a culprit right there. Nick Mobley. D+, bro, are you serious? You're fired. I'm sorry. You got to go. And, you know, might as well Sean Rooney. I'm going to fire you too. Both of you. These were our season stats. Both of our quarterbacks did not perform well whatsoever. 18 touchdowns to 12 picks for Cherry. 8 touchdowns to 5 picks for Taven Jackson. We couldn't really run the ball whatsoever. Only 659 yards for our running back, Elijah Green. Receiving, it was spread out, but Surratt didn't even have close to 1,000 yards. Blocking, our left tackle, 84 overall, Carter Smith. 9 sacks. That's unbelievable. In defense, we were terrible this year, and I can see why. We barely got any sacks whatsoever. We did force a good amount of interceptions, but just no pass rush whatsoever. On National Signing Day, we have 6 players signed. 6. I think that's maybe as good as we had last year. A few other players we're still going after, but I definitely did not do a good job this year recruiting or even just managing week-to-week roster. Gonna try and get Austin King to be our next offensive coordinator. Who knows how that will work. He's C+ and also has our scheme. And then defensively, I didn't even see what we needed. So we run a 4-2-5. At least that's what my coach has listed. I don't know. Maybe Braden Bridges will try and hire you, bring you in. Hopefully these guys accept it, and hopefully things are better next season. Georgia won the national championship 35-14. The 10 seed versus the 8 seed. So kind of 2 Cinderella runs, but 2 SEC's teams. The moment of truth, tons of players leaving, and I'm really not excited to see how long this is going to be. And yeah, it's a lot. And it does, of course, include our freshman quarterback, Terrell Sparks. So I think he's going to be the first one. We have 6 players to persuade. Sparks, please come back. He is. Terrell Sparks, who we went after, is going to come back. D'Angelo Pons, we have a great chance to get him back. He wants to go to the NFL draft, but he actually is going to stay as well, so that's huge for us. And then outside of that, we don't really have a ton of other huge players that want to come back. I mean, I guess we could just go all the top overalls. Carter Smith, he was terrible last year, and he's not going to come back. Good. You go ahead and leave. You sucked last year. Isaiah Jones at linebacker, he's not going to stay either. Our right tackle, Jermaine Russell, he will stay. And we have 1 persuasion left. I guess I'll try to go after this right guard because we have a good tight end prospect coming in. This guy's a junior. This guy's a freshman. We're going to try him, get him back, and he's not even gonna stay. So at least we got back 2 of the more important players, but still losing a nice bit of talent. We did have a player drafted, Elijah Sarrett, in the 3rd round. So hopefully he represents us well in the NFL. Some interesting players in the transfer portal, but again, who knows if we're going to actually have a good chance to get these guys. I'm going to add some of these cornerbacks. We could have a really nice cornerback duo next year with Pons as well. I feel like last year what really helped us out was the transfer portal. I mean, you just see every single position, we basically have a need labeled on it because we've just been doing such a bad job recruiting wise. Once again, the transfer portal did come in clutch. We signed ourselves 17 players. We're going to see how good that is in terms of just overall classes. I don't think it's going to be anything special. I think last year we were 36 and we're going to be 37. So we're kind of hovering around that mark, which is not terrible. But I think next year our recruiting hours are going to be down a ton because of our 3-win season. So it might be hard to get back to this point again for the 3rd straight year. With training results in, we are up to an 86 overall across the board once again. I'm hoping we have some clarity with the quarterback position, and we don't really. Taven Jackson is still technically the highest overall, but Terrell Sparks is a 79, still right behind him. He still has all of the abilities that these other two guys don't. He's got the best speed. But I think this might be a year where we do start Terrell Sparks in kind of another transition / rebuild year and get the most out of them. So heading into like year 2.5, I would say, because we didn't really fully play in the first season, we really got to lock in this year. Full recruiting wise, again, these are all players from Indiana or they had us on their board. But this year, instead of doing exactly what I did last year, I think I'm going to try and focus on maybe 15 players. We're going to go all in, make sure we send the house to every single one of our top guys. And I mainly have it ordered. We have our 9 gem prospects at front. I mean, this quarterback here, Jamie Gore, looks absolutely unreal. This cornerback has 99 speed. This receiver looks really good, 97 speed as well. Who knows if we have a realistic chance to get some of these guys since they are 5 stars. So that's the plan though. Go all in on 15 players. Then once we kind of either get them or we kind of lose those battles, that is when we tend to put more focus on some of the back players towards our recruiting class, like these 3 stars here. But our schedule-wise, again, the out-of-conference schedule is not too hard, although we did lose to Old Dominion last year, so it's never really going to be a easy run for us. But again, always in the Big Ten, it's going to be challenging. Nebraska, Michigan, Ohio State, and USC this year. In recruiting hours, we had less than I expected, only 600, so that means we're not going to have the full 15 that I did kind of plan for. Nick President, this gym quarterback. I mean, we don't need quarterback very badly, and the other guy is better than him. So I'm probably not going to pour any resources into Nick President quite yet, although it is a very cool name. Trey Haslam, another 5-star. He's going to get 50 hours. This free safety, he's going to get 50 hours as well. I did decide for quarterback, we're going to be starting Terrell Sparks this year. Highest upside, best development trait, best abilities. We're just going to see what we have in him this year and see if that does work out for us. Our running backs are not going to be too good. Our receiving core is definitely not too good. It's going to be pretty tough this year on offense, just looking around at the positions. But defensively, the defensive line is actually pretty loaded. And then our secondary, I showed that off. Our cornerback, we go about 5 deep and 2 of them up into the 90s. Our defense better be a lot better this year. In week number 1, a good start to this season, 34-13 against Colorado State. Let's take a look and see how our, I guess, first-year starter did. And look at Sparks, 315 yards, 4 touchdowns. Did we find our QB? I do think this method of recruiting is a lot better. We're off to a fairly good start on a lot of these prospects. I'm a little bit worried, though, about Felix Locklear. We did make a lot of progress, but, I mean, there's a lot of really good schools in on him. We are leading for a few of these candidates, so I think we're going to have a good chance to get some gem 4 stars this year. But this quarterback and wide receiver, I mean, they would just be really fun additions. 5-star gems, I mean, that would be huge for our program, but we'll see how things progress in the next couple of weeks. We haven't really gotten locked out of a ton of the back-end prospects, only the center right here. In the meantime, we lost to Ball State. We lost to Ball State. I don't understand what is going on with this sim engine. I don't know if they changed some stuff before the last time that I played this game, but their quarterback had 2 picks, and Sparks threw another 4 touchdowns. I don't understand how we're losing to Ball State. I guess we went to overtime, but why are we even there in the first place? Some good news, we are cooking with recruiting. We have jumped into first place for Felix Locklear and still atop of the board for a lot of these players. But again, we have to get things on track this year. We cannot keep losing to schools like Ball State. I mean, it's just unacceptable. We did take down UConn 42-28, so our offense is definitely just balling out this year. Sparks, another 5 touchdowns, 300 yards. He looks way better than the past 2 quarterbacks we had in the game. And putting the hard sell into a few more players did give me just enough hours to schedule him for a visit in week number 6. The thing, though, is will he even make it to this visit? He has one week number 5 with Maryland, so we'll see if he can make it, but it's when Ohio State travels to play us, so we're going to see if we can make it happen. The next 2 weeks, though, will decide our season against USC and Ohio State. and really the future for the program if we can't get some of these top-end recruits this year. So I'm going to hop into both of these games and see what we can do. 3rd and 18 for USC on their first drive, and their quarterback's going to try and take off and run. Didn't get sacked. And this is our first look at Sparks, and he does look kind of like a beast, like a Vince Young type of clone for us. I think really the main problem with our offense is outside of Sparks and his potential, we don't have much. We don't really have a lot of receiver, offensive line, running back. I mean, it's pretty rough. So when we do play against some of these top-end programs like USC, who's number 10 in the nation currently, we're going to struggle to really make things happen on the outside. And here, slam out in the end zone. It's going to be caught by Kufasi for 6. But in this first half, we're competing fairly well at home. We have another opportunity here to add some more points before halftime. I'm just going to dump it underneath here to Becker. But putting up another touchdown could sneakily be really, really big for us. And here, Sparks outside of the pocket. Beautiful throw. We're still trying to find our go-to target, who's going to really be the man for us offensively this year. But here, outside the pocket again, it's going to be caught for a touchdown. And I don't know what happened with USC. I think they tried to go for it or they missed a long field goal. But now we have a chance from 54 yards away. Don't think our kicker has the leg, but we're going to try it, and yeah, it wasn't even close. But in this fourth quarter, it's 4th and 20. USC is down by 11 points. This is the ball game. He's going to go deep and try one of our star cornerbacks. Come on, man. You can't do that. User interception. Going to try and have a nice return here. And look at all the green grass we have on the right side of the field. Their quarterback, he's going to try and tackle us. He does, though, but inside the 30. And honestly, we dominated the Trojans 31-20 on our home turf. A huge win for us heading into Ohio State next week. And maybe this helps get us some recruits. And it didn't help us out a ton because I just fell to my knees. Felix Locklear, this stud receiver, is going to Maryland, bro. He's going to Maryland. So we got to take him off the board. That sucks. The only silver lining is we do have 2 other gym receivers that we are still in battles for. Jamie Gore, we're also still battling Penn State to get his services. I'm going to add the hard sell now. We have enough points, and we finally do see his 3 interest. I'm going to try and get Bruce Gilliam on a visit, but again, Michigan State's closing in. Will he even be able to make our visit before he signs? But now it's time for another home game, this time against Ohio State. The first time Sparks is going up against the Buckeyes. And it's not a great start from our defense, already getting us in a 7-0 hole. But look at the speed from Sparks here to bring us inside the red zone. That's an underrated part of his game that we didn't really have with our previous 2 quarterbacks, but the running game, it's not quite there for us. I think running back and receiver are 2 of the biggest positions we need to address with recruiting this year. And luckily, we do have a lot of them on our board. But here we go on 3rd and 4 from the 5-yard line. Sparks back of the end zone, and our receivers just watched each other. Easily could have ran for it, and instead tried to throw to the wide open receiver, and he just did not want to catch the football. And now here back of the end zone, it's going to be swatted down. Our defense has a big play here on 4th and 5. With Ohio State again driving, trying to make it a 2-possession lead. Can we make a stop? It's going to be swatted down. Huge play from our sinking linebacker there. But it wouldn't even matter because Ohio State would just score in their next possession. It's 14-0. We need some points before half to even make this a game. I don't even know if I quite expected to win this one, but it would be cool to at least be competitive and put up a fight. And so far, we have not done that whatsoever. But we have a broken coverage here, going deep to Becker, who holds on, and he does have enough speed to bring it in the end zone. That's a game-changing play. But Ohio State would double dip. They would score before half. They would score their first possession of the second half, and now we're down by 14 points still. It's like every time we score, Ohio State answers. So it's still a 14-point game. We have to do an onside kick here. Can we get a miracle? They did touch it, but we couldn't recover it. So honestly, our offense did a serviceable job, I would say, against this Ohio State defense, but it was just our defense that could not stop them. And with that being the strength of our team, having 2 cornerbacks in the 90 overall range, that definitely does suck to see our defense just not show up. I always knew it was going to be somewhat hard offensively because of the lack of weaponry for Sparks to really utilize against some of these top defenses, but I still think he played fairly well considering all the circumstances and us even having a drop inside the 5 that wasn't his fault. So hopefully this is a good sign for us going into next season that we do have our quarterback of the future. It's honestly at this point just trying to get him some weaponry to help him out, but we definitely did not have that today to compete against the Buckeyes, and their safety somehow rotates over there in time. But that is going to do it. We do lose 49-28 to Ohio State. They just blitzed us in the fourth quarter. And their quarterback, again, 6 touchdowns, diced our secondary. Disappointing. We did unfortunately lose out on 2 more really good players, one to Michigan State, one to Miami, both gem prospects. Gore, we do have him coming on a visit, I think, in 2 weeks, and we still are in a battle for him. But I'm not as concerned getting him now because I do really like what I've seen from Sparks, but who knows? A 5-star gem is pretty ridiculous. I will say now getting Antoine Law is really big for us because he's really the best receiver we have left on our board. Not the tallest guy at 5'11", but 92 speed, 94 agility would be a big boost to our receiving core. This game is just so interesting. I don't know why this 5-star recruit, his best offer is from Notre Dame. It just seems a little bit weird to me, but I think we have a great chance to get our first 5-star. But just like last season, after one of our good wins, things are falling apart. We lost 37-28 against Northwestern. Just not a great school. Sparks had 2 picks, definitely not a great game. And their quarterback, another 5 touchdowns against us. I don't understand what is going on. We got an 86 overall defense and we can't stop a runny nose. And to make matters worse for recruiting, there goes Jamie Gore to Penn State before his visit with us. We're also going to miss out on 2 of these 4-star offensive linemen, which sucks as well. We got locked out of this right tackle as well. We did get the 4-star wide receiver that I wanted, which is cool, but things again taking a turn for the worse. We continue to just not be able to win a game, and it has to do with our defense. We are getting fried every single week. Rutgers just dropped 44 on our head. Sparks had another 4 touchdowns, 400 yards. We just cannot stop whatever offense we play. And the reason for that has to do with our defensive coordinator. He has D- prestige. He had like a C when I hired him. This guy sucks. And because we keep losing in recruiting, we are also losing out on a ton of potential players. Because look at all these right here. Championship contender. It's not up to a B-. And we're losing up ground as well on this 5-star pass rusher. I mean, we just cannot finish and get some of these players because of how bad this season has been going. We even added another 5-star right tackle we were in the lead for, but again, can't technically recruit him right now because we can't win games. We lose yet another game with our defense allowing 41 points per game. I want to fire this guy right now. Another 4 touchdown game for Sparks, but Dylan Raiola just dices us up. Our defensive coordinator is so awful. I mean, it's truly pathetic. We have 2 games left, Michigan, Purdue. I thought we had a chance to potentially make a bowl game, win 8 games, get some good recruits, but we've lost another 5-star, Trey Haslam, who we were in the lead for literally this entire time. You literally just cannot make it up how bad our defense was and how bad this coordinator just completely sold our season. Didn't want to waste my time and hop into the game against Michigan because once again, we allowed 48 points. Our offense has been cooking. Another 3 touchdown game for Terrell Sparks, but Michigan with their quarterback, Jaden Denegel, had 4 touchdowns again on our defense. Definitely another coordinator change. We've allowed 40 points. Let's see how many times this season. 5 games this year, over 40 points allowed, including 4 straight games. I'm going to hop into the game against Purdue and make sure we win this game because we do have some visits coming. But here we are against Purdue, and shocker, our defense has allowed a touchdown in the first quarter. It's what they've been doing all season long, and now we have to answer offensively with our star quarterback, and that's not going to do it on 3rd and 6. It does feel like every time I hop in, our defense does play better, but I guess it is against Purdue, so not like a great team to be going up against. But all the sim engines and EA games are just so weird. I mean, it's even weird in Madden how the whole sim works. But we're going to take a shot here up the left sideline. Can we get our feet in bounds? We can't. Like, for example, Sparks is 3 of 11 for 49 yards in the first half. That just is not realistic whatsoever, but we're going to take a shot up here, up the seam, and it's going to be dropped. To begin this 3rd quarter, we are on the move inside the red zone, trying to take the lead. Can we do it? I think for the first time this game, and another drop. We need those 2 receivers, those 4 stars. We didn't get the top guys, but we just need some reinforcements at receiver because the play is so bad right now. I don't know why he sat down right there. Got to settle for yet another field goal here. And this time it's going to be good, 9-7, and we take the lead. I tell you what, our defense might be having their best game of the season today, only holding Purdue to 7 points. I don't know what it is about with these sim engines, but they're locking up Purdue's offense. And here's Sparks, beautiful throw, another drop. And shocker, right when I give our defense some credit, Purdue goes down, scores a touchdown. Now we have 2 minutes to go in this game against our rivals here at home to just at least end the season on a good note. The keys for next year is hope Sparks does return. We already had to talk him out of transferring once, so we might have to do it again. and then just surround him with all the freshmen we can at receiver. But I think next year a bowl game has to happen, or it would just be a pretty bad look for our program. We're actually going to get a touchdown here. Nice drive to retake the lead. We've gotten Purdue down to 4th and 3. I think this is going to be a pass, but we're going to have our safeties come down in case it's a run. It is going to be a run up the middle, and he just got it. We've got Purdue on another 3rd and 9 here. And just 2 plays to get a stop and win this game. Their quarterback is under pressure. Going to check it down. Big hit, but he's short. Going to bring the dogs here. Man-on-man coverage across the board. It's going to be a run to the outside. Stupid play call. And we are going to escape with a 15-14 win. It's just crazy how you sim outside of like actually hopping into the game. It's shootout, 40-40. We hop into a game and it's 15-14. It's just such a weird game. Obviously, this garbage defensive coordinator, he is going to be gone. He completely just sold our entire season pretty much. Our stats for the season, Terrell Sparks had 40 touchdowns. Okay, this guy's him. Hopefully somebody doesn't pay him a boatload of money to walk away, because this guy in 2 years might be the Heisman Trophy winner. Rushing wise, still not great on the ground, although Sparks another 500 yards. Receiving, our top guy was a 77 overall. Sparks cooked with this guy. He might be like an 86 overall next year with how well he played. Defensively, still not a ton of sacks. Our leader had 6, and picks wise, not great either. On early national signing day, we do actually have our best group of players signed. It looks like we have around 10 players officially signed, and then of course still a bunch of these other guys we're in the lead for bringing into the offseason. I just want to get this receiver. He's top priority. Getting 2 gym 4-star wideouts. Actually, 3 gym 4-star wideouts would be really big for Sparks in the next couple of years. Defensive coordinator, don't even quite know what to hire. I'm just going to see this guy right here, Casey Steven. Same scheme that we run. He's the highest level. I'm just going to try and hire him, see if he can do anything. Actually, he's a D. I don't want this guy, and I can't even take it back. I cannot even take it back. I didn't even look. He's a D prestige. I honestly don't know if it even matters or if that's really what I should even be looking for, but I might have just hired an equally bad defensive coordinator. There's the 4-star gym receiver and Amari Redfield. So our receiving core has just been completely revamped this year. Shocker, Georgia won another national championship, but they better watch out with Sparks and these new receivers. I'm telling you, we're on our way in the next couple of years. We do have a lot of players leaving, like always, a bunch of seniors, and also a first-round cornerback in D'Angelo Pons. He's going to be a tough player that we're going to have to replace this year. But what I do notice and what I'm really happy about is there's no players trying to transfer out. So that means Sparks, he will be back. All of the players we had last year, they'll be back. So I'm pretty happy about that. And our prestige somehow is also up to 3.5 stars. So last year actually helped us out. Pons, he did get drafted in the 1st round, and then Jamari Sharp, another corner, drafted in the 6th. Now, I didn't think a 5-7 season was good, but now we have over 1,000 hours of recruiting, at least right now. So I feel like last season was actually not terrible. And in the transfer portal, I don't think there's a ton of players this year. Yeah, like a bunch of 2-stars. This is definitely the worst transfer portal yet. So I don't think I need to go after any of these players. I mean, 2-stars just do not really, like, there's no point in going after them. We do have a bunch of other 4-stars still on our board that we're obviously going to try and hard sell, get on visits, but actually just not a ton in the transfer portal this year, which is kind of surprising. But here officially is our recruiting class. We have 23 players signed, 2 more still debating their options, but we're not even on their interest board, so don't think we're going to be getting them, but 23 players signed is actually really, really good, our deepest class yet. And we also do have the number 14 in the nation. So kind of adjusting my strategy to focusing on fewer players, but more top-end players, and then kind of worrying about the back-end players more towards the end definitely helped us out, and we got ourselves a really nice recruiting class for next year. As always, my favorite part of the rebuilds, and a look at the progression, 88 overall, 87 offense, and an 89 defense. Let's take a look at our quarterback. Tyler Cherry is technically QB1. Terrell Sparks is up to an 82 at base, which is kind of crazy. He's not higher than that after a 40 touchdown season. At running back, not too great. At receiver, some decent progression. We do have Ufusi up to an 80 overall. I think he was like a 75 last year. This is not counting like the 5 freshman gems that we had. So we're really deep at receiver. Tight end is not bad. The offensive line, outside of a couple interior positions, is definitely pretty good. The defensive line is ridiculous. We should have so many sacks this year. The linebacking core is fairly good. The secondary, a bit more thin this year, but still some really good top-end players. I'm excited for this defense this year. there's really no excuse for it to not be one of the best in the nation. As always with the recruiting board, same thing, adding the 4 stars and above from Indiana, and then really just any other 5-star that I think we might have a chance to get. I might be biting off a little bit more than I can chew this year with some of these 5 stars I'm initially adding, but we're going to try it. These 5-star gems would just be insane players. We have 875 hours this year, so that does raise the amount of players we can initially go after. Our schedule this year is honestly not too bad. We do start off with Virginia. In week number 1, they're the number 6 team in the country, but Rutgers, Michigan, and Michigan State are the best teams we play this year. That's honestly not too terrible. Penn State looks like they're going to have a down year this year. No Ohio State, no Oregon. But it is go time. Week number 1 against UVA. We don't really have time to ease into the schedule this year. It's a top 10 opponent on the road, and we're going to see what we're built of very quickly. Our defense got a 3-and-out to start the game. Sparks has us already moving on offense. We're going to take a shot at the end zone here. A beautiful throw from Sparks, but it's dropped. And that is why we've invested so much in our weaponry, because that should be a catch every single time. But we're going to go for it here on 4th and 4, not kicking no field goals. When you're on the road in a hostile environment, as a big underdog, you got to be risky or you're not going to win these games. Drag route underneath. We're going to throw it to Becker, and he's going to hold on for 8 yards. And now we're going to try and find one of our running backs here in the flat and hopefully pick up some yardage. There's our running back, and somehow that worked out, but he's not going to pick up the first down. And as I was just saying, we're not going to settle for 3 points. We're just going to check it down here. It's going to be caught for Ursula for first down. And now we got 3 plays from the 5-yard line to get in the end zone. First play, going to fire across the middle of the field. Risky throw. 3rd and goal play, another double slant. We're going to fire. It's going to be caught for a touchdown. That's a great start for us. And in the second half, we are controlling this ball game. It's 14-9. We're inside the red zone again. Adding more points, though, especially a touchdown, is crucial in this spot. And look at how fast that defensive end is. It's like Reggie White chasing down my quarterback. It's not like he's even slow. But here we go on 3rd and 8, little Texas route middle of the field, and our running back does hold on. Would feel great about our chances if we can punch this in, make it a 2-touchdown game. Gonna roll out here with Sparks and just use my legs to get in the end zone, and they're gonna say he's down at the 1. Gonna run a little wildcat jet sweep here, and beautiful into the end zone. That's a 2-touchdown game. With the sack, we have him backed up on 4th and 16, and this is pretty much the ball game if we can get him off the field here. And they're going to fire to the middle of the field. What is our quarterback doing? That was almost bad, though. But through out-of-conference play, we are 3-0, so our best start in a couple of seasons now, but a couple close wins also against Air Force and UMass that don't have me super excited yet. And Virginia has also fallen to 1-3, so we might be a little bit fraud at the moment, but look at our upcoming schedule: Rutgers, Penn State, Michigan, and Iowa. Recruiting wise, really hasn't been a whole lot of players that have been taken off our board. We're still in the leader in a very, very tight race for a lot of these guys. I think we're going to have a good chance to have our best recruiting class. Well, we did end up splitting the games between Rutgers and Penn State. We lost a 21-19 thriller. Looks like our comeback came up a little bit short. I don't really understand, though, why Terrell Sparks is not having a great season. Just his yards are down, his touchdowns are down, and feels like his turnovers are up. Nothing has really changed in our offense, not the scheme. I feel like we only added better offensive players. I don't really know what's going on. I just feel like we can never be in sync with our offense being good and our defense being good. Again, just not really a great game for Sparks, only 200 yards and 1 touchdown. I mean, so far this year, he's 7 touchdowns to 5 picks. Like, that is just horrible compared to what he did last year with 40 touchdowns. Recruiting wise, we did lose out on one of the best players in the country, this defensive tackle, Dom Renya. We did lose out on this superstar running back, Juan Speed. That would be so sick to have, but he's going to Florida, and it is also looking like this cornerback is likely going to be going to either Michigan State or Michigan, staying in his hometown state. But we did get ourselves a couple of good 4 stars, including this quarterback here in Brett Baker. And we're still working on some of these other 4 stars and even this 5-star gem right in. So I feel like, again, we're going to have ourselves a really nice recruiting class when it's all said and done. But now it is time for a showdown in Bloomington against Michigan. Always going to be a great matchup, but we need this game to stay in the race for the college football playoffs. And so far in this one, a pretty even matchup, 7-7 with Michigan on the move here. A very key 3rd down for our defense, which has been pretty good all season, I'd say. A couple of stars emerging as well. But looking across the middle of the field here, their running back's going to hold on and break 2 tackles to pick up the first. We would hold him to 3 points, but now it's up to us to go down the field and get some points. We still don't have a receiver that I have faith in that can win on one-on-one coverage. But here, busted coverage, Ursula Wide open down the middle of the field. He's going to walk into the end zone. That's huge for the Wolverines defense to allow that to happen. But to start the second half, Michigan is on the move again, 3rd and 17. Just cannot allow a first down here, and that's going to be well short of the sticks. But the Wolverines just refuse to go away. We're going to have to end this game on offense, whether that's a touchdown, field goal, something. We're going to have to put up some more points to take down Michigan. And here outside of the pocket, beautiful throw to our tight end Cozen, who's going to break a couple of tackles and get us inside the 12. There's always the fear of scoring too quickly, but with 2 minutes and 43 seconds, we just need to get in the end zone. We can't really worry about taking time. And here we are again to Beckner, easy touchdown. And Michigan already at midfield. They really have 2 downs to pick this up. Would be nice to get a sack or a negative play here. Their quarterback's going to try and run for it, and he's going to be... I thought we were going to bring him down, but he breaks 2 tackles like he's Cam Newton. And now Michigan's inside the 10-yard line again, and they could be the ones to run some clock here. It's actually going to be some play action, fire down in the flat, and their tight end picks up 2 yards. No matter what happens, we are going to have ball last to go get some points to win it, but again, their tight end across the middle of the field. They're breaking every single tackle. Every tackle this Michigan team's breaking. But the ball is back in Sparks' hands. We need to go down the field and get ourselves a field goal. A shootout has happened in the second half. Didn't really expect that with how both these teams have been playing. I'd say probably 2 more first downs gets us in field goal range where I would feel somewhat decent about attempting that kick. But they're going to have a quarterback spy here. Beautiful toss over his head for another first. Just no crucial mistake, and we should be fine again. Across the middle of the field, risky throw, but he held on to it. Well, we've gotten ourselves to 3rd and 10. I wanted to pass the ball and get it closer in field goal range, but did not really work out well for us. There's going to be a penalty on the field. It could be roughing the passer. I didn't exactly see what happened, and I think it's going to be. Pass interference actually is going to be called. We're going to decline that penalty, and we're going to be at the 1-yard line. And at the 1-yard line, don't need to get cute with it. Going to try and make Michigan use their timeouts at least, and I guess they're not even going to use their timeout. I don't know what Michigan's thinking here. But I'm going to take it down to around 10 seconds and then snap it. If we can't get in the end zone here, obviously kick the field goal, walk this thing off. But here's Sparks trying to get something happen. Just do not fumble the football, and we're going to take a pretty big sack. Not the smartest play, but this is from 32 yards away. Should be no problem for our field goal kicker. It's very slow. That should be good. It is an Indiana 31-28 takes down the Wolverines. With 2 really good wins back-to-back, gets our season heading in the right direction. We are ranked now number 11 in the nation, jumping up 8 spots. So if the season ended today, we would be in the college football playoffs, but obviously a long way to go. And with how this sim engine is, we can't expect to win really any week. Unfortunately, John Sharp did decide to go to Michigan State, so another 5-star gem we're going to miss out on. We have this write-in coming on a visit in week number 9, I believe against Iowa, and if we could get him, he would be a great constellation prize for those other 2 5-stars we missed out on. And looking at the schedule the next 3 weeks, this should not be challenging for an 87 overall, 5-1, number 11 in the nation Indiana team. Illinois, Iowa, and Minnesota, all 3 of these teams are 500 or worse. In the meantime, we did get ourselves our first 5-star of the video, Glenn McCurdy, a write-in from New Jersey. Welcome to the team, my friend. And we couldn't even make it 1 week. We couldn't make it 1 week. I don't understand the sim in this game. I really don't understand it. Why am I losing to Illinois? Why am I losing to Illinois? The quarterback had 2 picks. Sparks, again, pretty underwhelming game, but I just don't understand it. We couldn't go the first week without blowing it. Thank goodness we took care of business the next 2 weeks against 3-6 Iowa and 1-8 Minnesota, setting up a showdown against 7-2 USC in Los Angeles. Recruiting is going amazing. We signed another 5-star, this receiver in Cole Cross, and his metrics look really, really good. He's 6'5", 211 pounds with 98 jumping and 94 speed. This guy's a freak. We also are working on this other running back who's a 5-star as well, just not really heavily recruited for whatever reason, but we're about to get him. And that means 11 players officially signed right now, and we're still working on a ton of others that we're in the lead for, have a great chance to get. I'm really optimistic about this being like a top 10 class. Off to a blazing start here in California. Already inside the 10-yard line, looking to have a 7-0 lead over the Trojans early in this game. Byron Garson, our freshman receiver, for a couple yards. Really looking forward to these wide receivers next year, what they can do in year number 2, and then even some of the freshman receiver we're going to get this year. Look at Sparks outrunning the defensive end. Make it 7-0. USC's offense has been answering the call, and look at that. We have 3 stars now in our defense, 2 on the defensive line, 1 corner. Our defense is really emerging at the right time. Beautiful play here on this little screen pass. 2nd and 15 out for the Trojans, backed up at the 23-yard line. Another negative play would go big for us. And a nice little run call there from Lincoln Riley. All right, to make it 3rd and 9. This is where our 2 stars off the edge have to make a play. I think we actually have one of them dropping back in coverage, but here we go. 3rd and 9. Nothing open until the back of the end zone. He's going to break it up, though. It's incomplete. What a play. But our offense is having its way against this USC defense, at least early in this game. 3rd and 6 again. Sparks just take off, use his legs, the athleticism. Now 1st and goal from the 3. This confusing stuff due to the stadium pulse is so annoying, but just need to take care of the football. I wanted to throw one of those drag routes, but I hesitated. That's a pretty big loss because now we have 3rd and long. Everybody in our offense is cold. I can't really see what's going on. And I'm just going to dump it off in the flat route here. Incomplete. Settle for 3. But to start the second half, USC's offense is moving it. They figured some things out. 13-10 ball game now. I guess we had a field goal before half, but we're trying to hold them out of the end zone. Would be big if we can force a turnover. Going to use the safety, bring him in the box, and it's going to be a little RPO action here. The running back stopped short. He's actually going to lose 3 yards. 2nd and goal now from the 7. I think it's got to be a pass, but it's actually going to be a run, and they're down to the 1-yard line. And now I'm just going to run commit up the middle. Direct snap to the running back. He's going to be short. What a play from our defense. And Lincoln Riley at the 2-yard line is going to kick the field goal. So we're actually going to take that as a huge win for us. Forced him to 3 points and only tying the game up. But we're right back on the field defensively. Our offense has been stifled a little bit, and on 3rd and 4, the running back's going to try and get there. Beautiful stop from our linebacker, Burton. And now's the time when Sparks has to rally the troops and wake up. Since kind of that weird sack element happened near the red zone, we haven't been able to do anything. Nice gaining 9 yards there. Now we need to pick up a 1st down here. We're going to throw it to our tight end. He's going to hold on. That's a big catch. Going to try and run some chew clock, and I just noticed a couple of our players now are cold for whatever reason. No idea why. But beautiful green grass right there. Cut it up inside for Sparks. Another 1st down. The 2-minute warning is hit. We're 27 yards away from a touchdown. And I just took a sack. It is now 2nd and 21. Still looking up the sideline here. Can we hold on to it? Kafusi. He held on. It's catch. We're going to try to speed that up here. Kafusi. I think I said his name right. We're going to speed that up so they can review it. 1st and goal at the 10. To Figures inside. He's going to break a couple tackles, get us down to the 2. We took a lot of manual time off the clock, and now we're going to try and pass forward here, get it in the end zone. Don't see anything. Sparks, he's going to be short. We're going to have to call timeout. I just don't think I trust our offensive line to hold up here at the 1-yard line. Tight end over the middle of the field. It's going to be swatted away. It's 4th and goal. I know I said I didn't trust the offensive line. Oh, this is kind of a far one. This is kind of a far one. I'm going to try and quarterback sneak it in. Sparks. Sparks. He's got it. They're going to give us the touchdown. I don't know about that. But for right now, we got the touchdown. And now we just cannot allow USC to have a Hail Mary, a miracle play. And we're going to walk in here and get a huge win. That might solidify our spot in the college football playoffs. Another sack from William DePay. Our defense has been really coming into form the last few weeks with our defensive coordinator. And one more play here is going to end this game. Their quarterback's going to lob one up down the field. 1-on-1 coverage. It's intercepted by Dillinger. And we also have some green grass to maybe add some points. If we can outrun these defensive linemen or offensive linemen, we can't. But that is the game, 20-16. Moved 8-2. Probably top 10 now in the nation. In the sim, it's just the gift that keeps on giving. I did not want to hop into this last game against Purdue. I probably should have. They were 5-6. I was like, there's no way we're going to lose to this team as the number 5 team in the nation. And what do you know? We lose. Sparks didn't even have a bad game, just kind of whatever, but their quarterback diced us up, Ryan Brown. And so now we're sitting at number 12 in the nation. We don't have a spot in the conference championship game, so I don't think we're going to make the college football playoffs this year. I really don't think it's going to happen. As of right now, we're not in. And with how I think the bracket works, I'm pretty sure if you're the number 12 team, you're automatically out. I think only if you're number 11, you have a chance to, like the conference winners or whatnot. But I do think we're going to miss out this year because of that loss. And what do you know? We did actually make it in as the number 11 seed. We're going to have a first round matchup against Oklahoma, but I'm very just fortunate and glad we're actually going to have another chance in the playoffs this year. On early national signing day, this is by far the most players we've had signed. It's 16, and we still have 8 more. We're in the lead 4 or in some very tight battles, a couple other 4 stars as well. This is before the transfer portal, so we could have our largest and most top-heavy class. But obviously, the main thing we're trying to accomplish is a national championship, and it starts here in Oklahoma with a 3rd and 11 play on their first drive. A little dump off to the running back. and he's going to get blown up. Our offense, though, has not shown up. We might be making another coordinator change. I just cannot figure out the coordinator hires, but our offense this year has just not done well, and we're going to have, I think, pass interference on our defense. So Oklahoma might have themselves a 14-point lead pretty soon. Another big 3rd and 7. We just cannot get in a 14-point hole on the road in the playoffs, and their quarterback, he's going to scan the field and throw it away right before I'm about to sack him. We have finally gotten it across Oklahoma's side of the field, but now a 4th and inches, right up the middle. We're going to pick it up, trusting the offensive line for once there. And now it's time to punch this into the end zone and tie this game up and give us a chance down the stretch here. Little drag route here. It's going to be held on to. Nice physical, tough catch. But another 3rd and 7. 4th toughest stadium pulse. Can't even see what's going on here. And a little out route here to our tight end and miscommunication. So we're going to have to settle for 3. Wide open. Thought we had at least maybe 5 yards there, but got the field goal at least to put up points on the board. The egg is gone. With 3:25 to go, Oklahoma is going to punt this ball back to us, and we haven't been able to get in the end zone at all today, but Oklahoma hasn't been able to do anything either outside of their one drive, so let's see if we can make something happen. The tough thing is just in this situation, I don't know who to trust on the outside. Becker's been kind of the go-to man, but he's not like a stud or anything. I guess we're going to find this little hitch route here to Ursula, and he's going to pick up 9 yards for us. And I'm sorry, I know I've complained about this a lot in this video. How does Sparks only have 100 yards passing in the simulation? I just don't understand the in-game sim versus in the menu sim. But Oklahoma's going to press Becker here. He is cold, but he's going to burn him off the line, and Becker has some space down the field. He's going to hold on to that, and Becker, just like that, I saw the press coverage, gave him a shot. We got the lead. Oklahoma is going to get the ball back and have a chance, of course, to go down the field and tie the game. But our defense has been really good today. So as long as we don't blow a coverage, I feel pretty good about getting a stop. As I say that, they're going to have a huge first down play. And they technically only need a field goal to bring it to OT. But I'm just hoping somebody can make a play on the outside, like our star cornerback top of the screen there. And another very nice first down completion to their star receiver. 1st and 10 play again, thrown to the outside. We had a chance at a pick, and we actually got it off the deflection. And Austin, the star corner I was talking about, is going to take it all the way back for a 54-yard pick six. And Indiana is going to walk in to Oklahoma and win 17-14 and move on to the next round of the playoffs. What a game and finish to that one in the 4th quarter. Our second round matchup is in the Rose Bowl against Oregon, who's 11-2. Not going to be an easy game whatsoever. I don't think we played them this year or even last year. It's been quite a bit since I remember playing Oregon. But this is going to be a neutral site game, which is obviously better than playing in Eugene with that crazy crowd. But here we go on 3rd and 9, our opening drive. We have a fairly nice drive cooking here. I'm going to try and throw one down the field, but I'm going to take a sack. Couldn't get the pass off. Sometimes just trying to make a play, I end up making a negative play happen. Taking a sack there was not smart, probably was in field goal range, and now we have a 3rd and 6 for Oregon here. He had a guy open right down the field, but he didn't see him. He's going to take a sack. And I don't know what happened, but we had a safety, and now Oregon has the ball at our 1 yard line, and now they just got into he's actually fumbled the football. I was about to say now they just scored a touchdown. We get a huge play as well. Our defense, I'm very shocked I'm saying that. Our defense is making plays to keep our season alive. On this little curl route here, barely got that pass through. Huge miss by the corner, and we take the lead. Oregon finally got themselves an offensive point, but we're on the move again here at the 28-yard line. Need to capitalize with this field position. Going to dump it off to the running back. Have to make somebody miss in the open field. Couldn't happen. And now I got to kick this one from 45 yards away. Luckily, since it's not on the road, not a huge disadvantage with the kicking meter, but that one should be good, and it's 10-10. I think our defense just forced another turnover because we're right back in the red zone with barely any time off the clock, and now we need to go punch in 7. I'm going to fire one to the end zone here. What am I doing? What am I doing? I thought he was breaking that route out. I thought he was breaking that towards the pylon. Luckily, our defense forced a 3 and out. I thought he was breaking that outside. I guess that just was not the route, but here we go, 1st and 10. Gonna fire one down the field again. Beautiful throw. It's gonna be caught in stride, and we're already in field goal range. That has got to be one of the best throws of Terrell Sparks' career. And he does actually now. He's got the star emblem. I just noticed that. It's like that throw right there just made him a star, and nobody blocked. But that's a great sign heading into next season that Sparks is a star dev. But I think I do want to pass it here, actually. I'm going to try and change the play quickly. We have 3 seconds to snap this football. Sparks, can you make another big time play? Dump it off here in the flat. Juke. And our tight end's going to be an inch short. I'm going back to the well. The quarterback sneak well. 4th and inches. It might be a little bit crazy. but it hasn't failed us once, and we are going to pick it up. And Oregon's got to start burning timeouts. Our running game really hasn't been too good this game. I don't even think we're averaging like 2 yards per carry. Yeah, 15 rushes for 23 yards is wild. But since we're at the 10-yard line, just take care of the football. One more run, and we basically can take this down to around 10 seconds and essentially end this game. And we're actually going to fumble the football. We just fumbled the football. I'm frozen. I guess our defense again forced a 3 and out. I still am just shell-shocked that we fumbled the football there. The good news, we do have 24 seconds, 2 timeouts to go get in field goal range again, but wow, I cannot believe that just happened. And up the seam here to Ursula, big catch. Timeout. Probably need another first down to make this a pretty manageable field goal. Drag route here to our tight end, and we just got that first down. But here we go, 3 seconds left. 40 yards away. Oregon does not have a timeout, so we don't have to worry about them icing the kicker. I think this is good. From 40 yards away. It's going to be right down the middle. And Indiana, 2 straight huge upset wins. We almost blew it, but we found a way to move on to, I think, the semifinals now. What a game. But of course, we don't catch a break. Colorado cannot take down Alabama, so they're our next matchup for a spot in the national championship. Our defense continuing to stand tall. Alabama 3 and out on their first drive. And now we have to go down the field, put the pressure on them, slam out wide open, cross him out of the field. Ursula, he's been huge for us in these playoffs. I have another little play action shot here. If that safety bites down, I'm throwing it to Becker. If he bites down, I'm throwing it to Becker. He bought down, I'm throwing it to Becker in the end zone. Becker, and it's incomplete. Probably not the best idea to target their star cornerback, but to be fair, every single corner on their team is a star. So that's definitely going to be fun to play against all game. Now we're behind the chains on 3rd and 10 here. Going to try and fire it up the seam. Incomplete. And honestly, it's gotten kind of ugly here in the second half. 13-0. Our offense has been able to do zip, zap, 0. But here's Sparks up the middle for a nice run. But we couldn't even score in that drive. Not sure what happened. Must have had a turnover. 3rd and 2 at the 42-yard line. Gonna throw this little hour out here. Can we get there? It's gonna be held on to. But again, Terrell Sparks. I don't know if you guys saw it at the bottom left. 96 pass yards. EA. Why is that a thing? That makes no sense. 96 pass yards, are you kidding? And then Sparks here under pressure. Fired to the end zone, Sparks, and he didn't come back for the football. Intercepted, and that should just about do it here. An absolute slugfest of a game. 13-0. Didn't score a point. And USC, they went on to beat Alabama 38-30 in the national championship, so that kind of stings because we already beat USC this year. We could have had a chance to take them down again. And here are the players leaving. Really only one key contributor. It's going to be our star pass rusher, but we just recruited a bunch of really good ones. I think even a 5-star gem, so not too worried about it. Philip Virgin, he does want to transfer. I guess we can bring him back. We'll come back, and that's really all we have to do here. Off-season recruiting is done. Got ourselves a couple other 4-stars in the transfer portal, but 25 official signees, and it's good for the number 7 class in the country. That has got to be one of my best classes I've had this entire year so far in this game. What a great class, right in front of Texas and right behind Oregon. The training results are in. And yeah, this team is really, really good. Sparks is even up to an 85 overall base and 90 with the boost. We have a 94 overall pass rusher. We have Burden, 92 overall linebacker. This team is ridiculous. I mean, look at 4 quarterbacks all into the 80s. I mean, how often do you see that? We still have Cherry here as our backup. Nick President, I think we recruited him a couple years ago. Running back might be one of the weakest positions on our team, but we don't even really run it a ton. But our wide receiver, so deep. Our best player is Antoine Law. He's up to an 87 overall. Great speed outside as well with Charlie Becker, our senior redshirt with 98 speed. Tight end, we have 4 good players as well. The offensive line that we've really spent a lot of resources in the first couple of years of this rebuild. Finally seeing the fruits of that labor. We already showed the defensive line is just deep. Multiple players into the 90s. The linebacking core is so good. The secondary, a little thin at corner, but still 3 great starters. And then, of course, it's safety. 2 good players as well. So I'm really happy with this team this year. There's no excuse to not win the national championship. Our schedule in year number 5, I think, we start off with LSU in Atlanta, Georgia for a neutral site game. Then Eastern Michigan, Virginia once again. Then Washington begins our conference play. And right now on paper, 4 ranked teams in a row. Washington, Oregon, Maryland, Wisconsin. then a break, and then another ranked team against Penn State. And recruiting these two players from the state of Indiana, I offered them a scholarship, and on rip, they just decided to commit to us already. But the rest of these guys, still some from Indiana, and then just a bunch of other 5-stars I'm going to keep trying to go after. Obviously, some of these guys already have us locked out, but really the same method. We have 700 hours this year to use, so that's going to be a big bulk of players we can offer 50 hours to right off the bat. First, look at the offense this year. We have 2 star tackles, a star quarterback. The question is, can we get a star-studded skill position player to emerge? Inside the red zone now, trying to capitalize with the touchdown, have our tight end here on this little wheel route, and we got it. 7-0. Great play design. We got a pretty good game here in the fourth quarter. LSU, first look at our defense now. It's going to be fired to the outside. It's going to be picked off by Hugo. Right as I'm talking about LSU skill position players, we undercut the route, and we take it back for a 43-yard pick six. Hakeem Hugo. What a stud. I think we might have caused another turnover because we're back on offense again. So why not try and go score some more points and make this win look a little bit better than it might have been. We're going to lob one up down the field, come back for the football. We got it. Another completion. I mean, it feels like LSU has 5 stars on either side of the ball. That seems pretty ridiculous, but here's a little drag route here. Going to pick up the first down and then some. Could this be a Heisman season for Terrell Sparks? We're going to have to wait and see here. But a touchdown would end this game. We have our tight end. Drag route again. Easy touchdown. And LSU actually got boat raced here in the fourth. 34-22. Not a ranked opponent right now, but this LSU team definitely does have a lot of talent across the board. I just simmed the next 2 weeks of out-of-conference play against Eastern Michigan and Virginia, and we dropped 40 points in back-to-back games. A little bit concerning, though. We allowed 38 to UVA, and the game actually went to overtime. Now I'm looking at it, so actually, I don't feel that great about that win now. But now we're getting into the heart of conference play. Maryland, as I expected, the team would fall off. They're 0-2. But Oregon and Washington, the next 2 matchups, I think I want to hop into the game against Oregon and probably skip out on this one against Washington. But before we do that, I want to hop in and show you guys some recruiting. Still just in the lead for all of these top players, except for a couple. We did get locked out on this right tackle, but that's fine. Our offensive line has been doing pretty good this year. But essentially my process is just keep looking and see if any of these guys I can hard sell. If not, just move on to the next player and kind of just rinse and repeat that. Recruiting is so tedious to do. So I just really make sure to show the highlights of it. And outside of that, really just keep you guys up to date with little small things regarding it, like this 5-star receiver. We're going to go ahead and put the hard sell on him. Find the 3 interest, and let's see if I can do it. I always kind of search around for it. I haven't really identified where every single 3 of them are, but there we go. We got the 5-star recruit with the hard sell now, and how about this other 5-star? Don't have his 3 interests yet. And in a shocking development, we actually took down Washington 17-7, and Oregon, they have fallen to 3-2, so they're not even as good as I thought they were going to be when I decided to skip over the Washington game. So now this Oregon game is less appetizing to hop into. Maybe we save it for Wisconsin and Penn State and really see what team emerges at the end of the season. This is how I know we're getting over a hurdle. 44-27 against Oregon. An absolute destruction. Sparks had himself a fairly good game, but nothing really special. We ran the ball actually pretty effectively. 2 touchdowns for Figures, a touchdown for Hagman. Really just a dominant win. I don't think Oregon really did much on offense. Their quarterback actually had 3 touchdowns, but only 200 yards, and we throttled them. And it's like right when I gained some faith in Sim, we let Maryland drop 49 on us. 49 points for Maryland. Sparks had 3 turnovers. Their quarterback played perfect. It's just, you can't win. Anytime I start to gain a little bit of faith, this happens. And recruiting-wise, we added a couple of more players, but we are also losing on some. Theo Newton, this 5-star quarterback, is going to Miami. We're down to 12 players. We still have 300 hours. Probably going to add a few more recruits to our board and see if we can continue to just add more talent to the back end of our recruiting class. In the meantime, I've just been letting the sim cook. We took down Wisconsin 31-27. We defeated UCLA 31-23. 2 games on the road, back-to-back weeks. Sparks has been playing pretty good for us. A lot of yards, not a ton of touchdowns though. He's kind of fallen off a little bit in terms of that touchdown production, but we're running the ball a lot better this year, which means our offensive line has definitely improved. And we're looking at the rest of our schedule. We have Penn State and then 3 pretty bad teams, but actually a snow game here on the road against Penn State. And if we can get a stop here, it's going to be thrown short of the sticks. And that's really just about do it. I did not have to step in at all, just letting the moments play out. Our team was in control, dominating really this game from start to finish, and 1 first down should be the icing on the cake, and we just got it. 31-14, taking down Penn State. Another year in this rebuild. And as long as we don't have another big hiccup, we're going to be one of the top seeds in the playoffs. And really, outside of that one hiccup against Maryland, where we allowed 49 points somehow, we've been cruising this season. We just had 2 huge wins after the Penn State game, 42-21 and 24-8 against Northwestern and Illinois. And our last game of the season is against 2-9 Purdue. I think we lost to them last season and almost ruined our year. So I'm hopping into this game, and I'm going pedal to the metal against the Boilermakers. Recruiting, we officially have 7 players signed, a good handful as well that we're still going after and have a great chance to get. But I'm kind of over recruiting. I finally won a national championship, so the first step in doing that is winning today, locking up a spot in the Big Ten championship, and getting ourselves a first round bye. The score's already 14-3. I kind of just want to lob up a bomb to one of our receivers here. It's going to be Law against this Purdue cornerback, and he's actually going to come down with a pick. So maybe that wasn't the best decision. Purdue did capitalize with the touchdown, so they're kind of making it a ball game because I'm kind of messing around here. But fire into the end zone, down to the 1. Going to run a very similar concept here and try to get another passing touchdown, and we should have it. We do to our tight end. But now with a comfortable 2 touchdown lead, just going to try and get ourselves some padded stats. We're going to lob one up to Law this time. Can he come down with it? And Law is kind of getting cooked by this corner. We're going to roll the dice here on 4th and 5. Get it out to our running back. Easy first down to Figures. Nobody near him. But honestly, this was never really a ball game. We had Purdue from the opening snap, and it's now 31-10. Final score of 38-17. Offense had one of the better games of the season. We take down our rivals and have our spot secured in the Big Ten championship. But look at that. Our rematch is going to be against Maryland, our only loss on the season, which I could not ask for a better matchup here in the conference championship game to right some of our wrongs. Now in this first half, our defense said, you know what, we took it personal. What they did to us last time, we're going to make up for it. But here we're going deep to Law, and it's going to be incomplete. He's not too great at these contested catches. 10-0 at halftime. We have the ball in the opening drive to start the third quarter. And again, we're about to put up some more points. Have this little out route to our tight end. There's a penalty on the field. Not sure what it is, but we're in the end zone. Looks like it's coming back for holding. But honestly, could not have asked for a better first half from our team. Rebounding from this loss early in the season. Another touchdown catch from our tight end. It's 17-zip. That's cute, Maryland. That's cute. You got yourself a field goal. Well, guess what? We're about to make it 24-3 with another touchdown from that man, Terrence Sparks. He's going to roll out, fire to the end zone here, and miscommunication incomplete. Let's try that again here on 3rd and 4. Drag route wide open to Law, and some great blocking up the field. And Terrell Sparks has 105 yards passing today. Thank you, AA, for this very realistic sim engine. 100 yards for Sparks in a full game action, but his second passing touchdown. It's 24-3. We're dicing these kids. Honestly, not even a challenge. 24-10. They got themselves a garbage time touchdown. We're going to win the Big Ten Conference for the first time in this rebuild, lock up a first round bye in the college football playoffs, and probably a top 2 seed. I mean, we had such a great season. 12-1 now, heading into postseason play. A quick look at National Signing Day. We have officially 8 players. I think last year we had like 16. Really wasn't as locked into recruiting this year as I probably should have been, but still 8 players signed and a few more we still have a good chance to get. In the playoff bracket, we are the number 3 seed with NC State, who's 13-0 as the number 1 seed, and Georgia ahead of us. We're going to play the winner of Clemson versus North Carolina and then maybe face Georgia in the semifinals, depending on how things go. In Clemson took down the Tar Heels 20-18, so they are going to be our matchup in this quarterfinal round, with Michigan and Georgia being up next if we can advance. And honestly, you can't get much better start. 7-3, we're at the 1 yard line to make it 14-3, and we got it. And Clemson honestly just can't hang. 28-6, 1 touchdown away from sending them night-night. We have one-on-one coverage again, Law down the left sideline, and Clemson, see you later. Wasn't competitive whatsoever. Hopped in for a couple of plays, scored a couple touchdowns, and just a dominant 35-6 win. Moving on to the semifinals for a 2nd year in a row. Of course, we could not catch a break, so we are going to be facing off against Georgia and USC, and 14-0 NC State are on the top of the bracket. The Bulldogs have a ton of experience. Probably make it here like every other year. I guess we did make it last year. This group does have some experience, but just the overall totality and prestige of the program, Georgia's always in this position. So the fact that this is our 3rd time in the playoffs, if you count kind of our first Mickey year, we got to make it count this time. because it's very hard to get back here every single year, especially losing player after player. And we're going to fire to the end zone here to Beluga. He's in. 7-0. Georgia has gone on a bit of a run, 10 points unanswered, but we are moving it here to open up the third quarter. Can we punch it in? That was the key. Kind of fire underneath to Beckner for 8 yards. I think in the red area, a big part of our offense needs to be utilizing the legs of Sparks. And here we're going to get outside the pocket, fire across the middle of the field, and we're going to get in with Ursua. Retake the lead. Quick little stop from our defense. Gets the ball back in the hands of our junior quarterback, Sparks. And if we can put together a touchdown drive here, Georgia would be in some trouble, but it's 4th and 1. And we did not make it here to kick field goals, punt the football. We're going to go for this. Same concept I've been running time and time again in this video. We got it again to Beluga. He's like a beluga whale. I mean, he is just an absolute animal on the outside. First down. In the red zone again, our offense has been pretty flawless, actually. Once we've gotten it into this spot of the field, Terrell Sparks, he's also been pretty flawless. I think 1 incompletion on the day. And again, moving outside of the pocket, just run this in. Actually, just flip it out. We'll take the passing touchdown. Another one on the board. It's honestly kind of gotten out of hand. It's 28-10. We have the ball again. I haven't even had to do anything on defense. One-on-one coverage, burn their cornerback, figures, walks into the end zone. Man, we're just running through the competition. Georgia got themselves a Mickey Mouse last touchdown to make it 35-17. But we're moving on to the national championship game with a dominant win. An undefeated NC State did lose to USC, so it's an all Big Ten national championship. I'm pretty sure in the last couple of years, USC did make the national championship, if I'm remembering that correctly. But we're basically evens. 90 overall across the board for USC. We got a 90 overall offense, 89 overall team. And we've been building the last several years for this moment right here against the Trojans. We had an opening drive touchdown. USC just turned the ball over. And again, we could have another fantastic start in these playoffs, and this time the national championship game, with a 14-0 lead. 2nd and inches from the 6-yard line. Had maybe that slant route. I'm still going to throw it. And Law, he gets open. 14-0. Our defense is still just not allowing USC to do a single thing. But again, pressure here. Have to get outside of the pocket. Nobody's accounting for Sparks. And look at all of the green grass there. Inside the red zone again. A 21-0 lead in the national championship would be kind of crazy. But maybe I shouldn't speak too soon as we take a sack. Gonna run a low-risk play here. Just a little running back screen to Figures. And he's gonna break a couple of tackles and pick up 9 yards. At the very worst, we make it a 3-possession game. But obviously a touchdown would be a lot better. But it's incomplete. Gonna settle for 3. No question about it. And that is gonna be right down the middle. 17-0. The Trojans have broken their donut. It's 24-3 now. So again, we're still moving it, trying to make it pretty much unreachable for them to come back in this one. Terrell Sparks has been flawless. No turnovers, 3 touchdowns. Just dicing up this Trojans defense. And as long as we just continue to take care of the football, again, look at that play. Breaking the sack and then diving into the end zone. Another touchdown. The kid's just so good. We've got almost triple the amount of yardage of USC. We have just dominated every single team we've played in these playoffs. And again, we have Cherry in now. What happened to Sparks? I just realized that was not Sparks in the game. Maybe Cherry wanted to get some reps for, I don't know, his only national championship appearance. But USC is trying to add some points to the board, maybe do some onside kicks and make it a close ball game. Here's the running back picking up a couple yards. But our defense has just really shown up in these playoffs, really not allowing anything to happen. Another 4th and goal play here. Good play from their quarterback. So Cherry is still in at quarterback. I want to see if we can see what happened. Okay, so 2 things. Sparks tore his labrum, so he just randomly got hurt, and then fractured shoulder blade. Literally like the best player in our team has been out as well. So that makes what our defense has been doing even more impressive. But here's a little sweep to Figures on the outside, 1 yard, and that is it. Indiana, the Hoosiers, they are in fact national champions. Took me a few years to finally get this thing rolling, but back-to-back playoff appearances, back-to-back semi-final appearances, and this year we finally got over the hump and got ourselves a ring. Final stats for the season: Sparks with 50 touchdowns to 3,900 yards. I mean, he had a tremendous season. Figures on the ground, 640 yards and 5 touchdowns. Sparks even added 8 more on the ground. Receiving wise, we're so spread out. Law, Becker, Ursua, Burns, and Beluga all over 500. And how about this defense? Shout out this defense. A couple of 8-sack players here. Interceptions wise, a lot of turnovers forced in the back end of our defense. There's an all-around gauntlet of a squad. As always, here are our players leading a couple to the NFL draft, including our pass rusher who did get hurt, but it does look like we are going to get Sparks back for his senior campaign. And there goes Cherry. He did have a couple starts for us early in this rebuild. On National Signing Day, got ourselves 22 players. Definitely a really good class once again, a couple of 5 stars and a bunch of 4 stars once again. And in terms of where it ranks, we are number 11, so 1 place shy of a top 10 class once again. But shout out Duke, the number 12 class in the nation. That's kind of crazy. A quick look at the training results. We're even better this year. Terrell Sparks is up to a 90 overall, a 95 with the boost. I mean, look how deep this team is as well. This is ridiculous. Figures has developed a lot as well. Wide receiver, we're deep with a ton of really good players. Garcon, I remember recruiting him. He's our wide receiver 2 now. At tight end, we have 290 overall tight ends. Our offensive line looks really, really good. I think we're probably going to be the best team in the country on paper again. Our pass rush should continue to be really, really good. A 93 overall defensive tackle in Dante Bigsby. Our linebacking core is still really, really good. Our secondary is still really solid. But as I usually do at the end of every single one of my rebuilds, I'm going to sim this entire season, not going to hop into any game, and we're going to see if we can go back-to-back. Our first game of the season is against Georgia, the number 3 team in the country. And we actually kind of cooked. We lost 45-0 week number 1 against Georgia. That's kind of weird. 45-0. Sparks got hurt maybe. I don't know what happened, but 45-0 week number 1 against Georgia is kind of crazy. But outside of that, we really turned it on. We did lose to number 1 Oregon on the road. That's kind of respectable, and Eugene. But we are in the conference championship game against Oregon as well. So we're gonna go ahead and sim this, see if we can go back-to-back as conference champions, but kind of an interesting season. Actually better than I thought we were going to do. And Big Ten champions. So we did actually take down Oregon. So do we have a chance to go back-to-back? We went from losing 45-0 to Georgia to ending the season as conference champions and taking down Oregon 19-16. Sparks didn't even throw for a touchdown in the game. I don't know, just what a weird season in sim, but we are the number 1 overall seed. San Jose State is on our side of the bracket, so Oklahoma State or Auburn, and then maybe we can make our way back to the Natty. And we did actually make the Natty back-to-back seasons. The USC Trojans is going to be our matchup. I know our team was really, really good, but I'm actually really surprised we actually did with all the simming. 31-17 against Oklahoma State, 38-17 against San Jose State, and now it's USC again. I guess we got to hop into this one, not to play, but we're going to kind of watch towards the end of this game if it is close and see what happens. It wasn't even a contest. It's 21-0 here in the 4th quarter. I haven't played a snap all season, and our team is still just unreal. We're actually going to be back-to-back national champions. We really took over the legacy of Kurt Zanetti and this Indiana program and really brought them to build a dynasty that's kind of ridiculous. Look at this quarterback, all day to throw, and he's still going to walk into a strip sack. The Trojans did finally get on the board. Let's see this onside kick if they can recover it. And yeah, they cannot. Indiana is going to escape. I want to see our offense, though, in action. Just for one play here, see the team that we have built. We now have a star in the backfield. Still not a star wide receiver, though, which is kind of crazy with all of the star talent we recruited out of high school, but a huge hole up the middle. And oh my goodness, we're adding more points to the board potentially. But we have done it again, 28-7, back-to-back national champions. This was really all the CPU taking over the team that we built, and man, what a run. A quick look at the stats for the season. I think Sparks got hurt or something because we had 2 quarterbacks play. He was 16 touchdowns to 3 picks, and Nick President was 15 touchdowns to 3 picks. On the ground, ran it a lot more this year, I think, because of our quarterback situation. 1,100 yards and 13 touchdowns for Figures. Garcon led us with 1,100 yards, and Law had 12 touchdowns himself. And defensively, Alejandro President. We have 2 presidents on the team. This guy on defense had 13.5 sacks. He was an absolute force for us and 5 picks. For Sean Moe, our middle linebacker, our defense this year balled out again. But here's a final look at our rebuild. 60-26, 9-2 bowl record, 8-2 versus our rivals, 21-11 versus the top 25. I would say probably a little bit of rust in the beginning just because I haven't played this game in over a month, but let me know in the comment section down below any suggestions you guys have for future rebuilds. I'll be sure to do those for you guys. But subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in my next rebuild.